Hi children, good morning everyone. Hope you are ready for today's NS class. Let's start the lesson of animals and their food. Up to now, you have studied about the food we need and also about the different types of plants and how do the plants get their food and so on. Now we are going to learn about the animals and their food habits. In this lesson, you are going to learn about the food habits of different animals, classification of the animals based on their food habits and also adaptation of these animals based on their food habits and interrelationship between the plants and animals for their food, which is called as food chain or food web. Okay children, let's start our new lesson. What is it? Animals and their food. What is the name of the lesson children? Animals and their food. Okay, so this is the third lesson of your state syllabus. Okay, what are the topics that we are going to cover in this lesson now? So the first is about the food habits, different food habits of different animals. Food habits of different animals. Secondly, you are going to learn about the classification of the animals based on their food habits. What is it? Classification of animals based on their food habits. Clear children? Next, thirdly, you are going to learn about the mode of living of different animals. Mode of living. How do they live? How do they live? Mode of living of different animals and also adaptation of animals to the particular place. How do certain animals adapt to the particular place depending upon their food habits? Adaptation of different animals at different places. Okay, next, fifthly, the main topic about that is about the food chain and food web. That is interrelationship between the plants and animals. Interrelationship between plants and animals. Okay children, these are the main topics that are covered in this lesson. What is the first one? Food habits of different animals. What are the different food habits? Some animals eat only grass or the plant products, isn't it? So what are they called and what do they eat? Everything you are going to learn about the food habits of different animals over here. Some animals eat only flesh and some may depend both on plant products and animal products for their food. And some depend on only flesh of the other animals. So like this, you can classify the animals based on their food habits. So what is the classification of the animals? You are going to learn next. Okay, so based on the classification of the animals and also you are going to learn about the adaptation of the particular animals and what is their mode of living. So mode of living in the sense that where do they live and what are the main that is the availability of the food in the particular place relates to their mode of living. Okay, so where do they live, how do they live, on what factors the adaptation of the particular animal depend upon in a particular place. Everything you are going to learn in these two topics. Next, interrelationship between the plants and animals. So what is this interrelationship called? Why is this interrelationship between the plants and animals takes place? So what is the relationship between the plants and animals? And how does this interrelationship takes place? Is it for food, shelter or anything else? So you are going to learn in this 5 subtopics of this lesson, animals and their food. Hope you have understood this introduction part, and now I am going to tell you about the food habits of the different animals. Okay children, note down these points. Say children, you might be having pets in your home, isn't it? So like cows, dogs, cats, everything that hens you might be having in your home as a pet sometimes. So what do they eat? Yes, cow. If it is a cow, what do you supply to it? You'll be supplying grains or oil cakes or anything like that sort, isn't it? So if it is a dog, you'll be giving it the rice or a bread or a meat or biscuits, so on, isn't it? So depending upon the type of the food that eats, you will be supplying it to eat the type of food material. So some animals like cows, they are domestic animals, and also they are herbivorous. That is, they eat only plant products, plants or the grass and so on, isn't it? So they eat grass, oil cakes and so on. So you can write over here as, for buffalo it is given. So what is the name of the animal? See the table on the board children. Buffalo. What does the buffalo eat children? Buffalo eats grass, oil cake, hay, grain. Grass, oil cake, hay and grain. Grains also it takes as its food. Okay children. Next is cat. Cat eats both the grains and also the flesh, isn't it? It hunts rats and other small animals, as you know well. So what does the cat eat children? Cat eats flesh of the other animals and also it drinks milk, as you know well, isn't it? So it drinks milk, it eats grains also, like rice and all. It takes rice in the form of rice, it takes curd rice and all, it will be taking, and it also eats rats, isn't it? So in the similar manner, you can complete the table of the other animals which eat depending upon their food habit. Okay children, so here the lion, you know very well that lion eats only flesh of other animals. So what does the lion eat? It eats the flesh of other animals. So other small animals it will be eating. Other smaller animals. Next, tiger. Tiger also the same thing. It also eats the flesh of other animals. Okay. Next, spider. Hope it is visible to you now clearly. Spider. What does the spider eat? The spider eats insects and worms. Insects and worms. All of you open your classworks and note down this table children. So like this, you have to complete the food habits or the food the animal eats for the other animals that I give you now. So in the similar manner, you know that some animals may be eating only plant products like cow, buffalo, goat, sheep and etc. So the herbivorous animals, they eat only the plant products. And some animals eat the flesh of other animals like lion, tiger, etc. Wolf, cheetah. So these are the animals which depend on other, they live in forest and they depend on the flesh of other animals mostly, isn't it? And next there are certain animals like cat, hen, birds like hen, dog. These animals they eat plant products and also the animal products, and also the animals also as such. So these, what are they called? We'll see next classification. Next, write down here. Complete this table and I'll give you the other animals also for you to write as a homework. Okay, note down this first. Continue the table now, children, over here. This is house lizards. Now we are continuing the table once again. I am repeating house lizards. So I have already told you about buffalo, cat, isn't it? So lizards, these are the reptiles. You know well, lizards eat insects, isn't it? In your house, if you see the lizards, they will be crawling over the walls and all. You'll be observing them catching the insects, isn't it? So they eat insects. And the cow, as you know very well, cow eats grass and also grains, hay, isn't it? So like this, you will be writing about the food habits of the cow. Next, rat. If you see the rat, what does the rat eat in your house? If you see, sometimes it eats grains, isn't it? Nuts. Rat eats grains, nuts, and also with some vegetables also it will be eating at your home. Yes or no? Yes, rats might be, maybe mostly depending on the grains. See the table number 1 of page 22 and complete the remaining as it is. Okay, so grains, fruits, seeds, nuts, everything will be eaten by the rats. Human beings, as you know very well, that human beings depend upon the vegetables, grains, all the types of cereals, fruits, nuts, oil seeds, everything. So the food, they eat both the vegetarian food and also the non-vegetarian food, like they depend upon the mutton, eggs also, isn't it? So chicken, mutton, everything they will be eating. So human beings, they eat both the grains and also the flesh of the animals. Next, butterfly. Butterfly, as you know very well, that it depends on the nectar of the plants. So butterfly depends upon the nectar of the flowers. So human beings, they eat grains, cereals, pulses, nuts, and also they eat flesh, isn't it? Flesh in the sense that is, they depend on both animals and plants for their food. Butterfly, it takes nectar from plants. Is it clear? Next, crow. Crow also depends on both plant products like grains. It also eats grains, and also it depends upon the insects for its food. Hope you have understood this table, children, clearly now. So this is about the food habits of different animals. Now, seeing this food habits of different animals, you can come to the conclusion that some animals depend on plants for food. Like cow here we have seen, and also the buffalo also we have seen. Like this, cow, buffalo, goat, sheep, donkey, so elephant, parrot. If you see all these, you can say that they depend only on plants and plant products for their food. Okay, so the nature, the classification of the animals is mainly based on their food habits. One of the classification of the animals is based on their food habits. That is, some animals depend on plants for their food. Some animals depend on animals for their food. Like, what are the animals which depend on animals for their food, children? It is lion, tiger, cheetah, wolf, leopard, and so on, we can say, isn't it? So from this table, we can conclude that some animals depend on only plants for their food. Okay, and next point we can say that some animals animals depend on only animals for their food. That is, some depend, they eat flesh of the other animals, isn't it? So we can say that some animals depend on only other animals for their food. Okay, and next we have also seen that some animals depend on both plants and animals for their food. Okay, so they are human beings, especially they depend on both plants and animals for their food. Here human beings are also considered under the animal kingdom. Okay, so some animals depend on both plants and animals for their food. So now you have come to the conclusion that there are animals which depend on only plants for their food. There are animals which depend on only animals for their food. And there are animals which depend on both plants and animals for their food. Now, what are the animals which depend on only plants called? The animals which depend on only plants are called as herbivores. What are they called? They are called as herbivores or herbivorous animals. The animals which depend on only animals for their food are called as carnivores. What are they called as? Carnivores or carnivorous animals. Carnivorous animals. Next, the animals which depend on both plants and animals for their food are called as omnivores, or they are also called as omnivorous animals. So now you understood that the animals are divided into herbivores, carnivores and omnivores based on their food habits. Now write down the classification of animals based on food habits. Classification of animals based on their food habits are herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. What are they? Herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. Classification of animals. Now you are classifying the animals based on their food habits. Food habits. How the animals are classified? First one, they are classified as herbivores. Herbivores in the sense they are herbivorous animals. That is, they depend on only plants for their food. Depend on only plants for their food. Second one, carnivores, or they are also called as carnivorous animals. They depend on other animals for their food, or they are also called as flesh-eating animals. Okay, next, omnivores are omnivorous animals. Okay children, so here in the sense, depending upon the food habits, they are classified as herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. Note down children in your notes. Herbivores are plant-eating animals. Plant-eating animals. Carnivores are flesh-eating animals. In shortly you can write as such. Omnivores are, they eat both plants and animals. Okay, now done children. You have written this, I hope so, children. Now, the way of the classification of the animal is frugivorous animals. The other type is frugivorous animals. What are frugivorous animals? Or they are also called as frugivores. Frugivores or frugivorous animals. What are they? Frugivorous animals, or especially the mammals, they are the mammalian herbivores. Hope you know what are mammals. Mammals are the animals which give birth to their young ones and feed their young ones with their own milk. What are mammals, children? Mammals are the animals which give birth to their young ones and feed their young ones with their milk. So, these mostly the mammals, mammalian herbivores, that too they depend on plant products for their food. So here the frugivores depend upon mostly the fruits. They depend on fruits. Also they depend on the succulent fruits or vegetables, shoots, roots, seeds and nuts too. Okay, so mostly the frugivores depend upon the fruits as their food. Depend on fruits. They depend on succulent roots, shoots, that is stems, shoot systems, stems, and also the nuts, seeds, etc. for their food. 20% of the mammalian herbivores are frugivores. Okay, children? So this is about the classification of animals based on their food habits. So now we'll see about how do animals eat. Okay, so take the page number 23, children. 23. How do animals eat? Plants and animals are the main sources of food in our surroundings. We know this, isn't it? Like us, animals also depend on these sources for food. Animals also depend on plants and animals as we have studied and known till now. Every animal has its own style of getting food. Every animal. Some hunt the animals, some search the animals, their food. Some hunt the other animals for their food, some search their food. They run, they search their food here and there by wandering here and there. Some animals will be searching their food, isn't it? And they trap, collect, grab or hunt, and they use the various parts of their body to take the food into the mouth finally. So this is how the animals eat, or how do the animals eat is the next topic. So the mode of living. In the mode of living, how do the animals take their food? How do the animals take their food? How do the animals eat the food? That is the topic. Mode of living. In mode of living, how do animals eat? So, what can we say about this? So, animals eat, both plants and animals, as you know, through the classification of the animals, we have understood through observation. Also, we have understood that some animals take plants as their food, some animals take other animals as their food, some animals take in both the plant products and animals also as their food, and some animals take only the fruits for their food, like bats, which are frugivorous. Is it clear? So here, as you know very well, that the animals, what do? They collect the food. How do they collect the food? They see, they search, and some animals they wander here and there and collect the food. And by searching or seeing or hunting, they collect the food. Okay, so first, in order to collect the food, they have to track down the food. Then they track down, they collect, grab or hunt. In order to do these activities, they need mouth parts or certain parts of the body and other parts of the body to hunt of the body. So mostly teeth, mouth parts like teeth, tongue are being used to grab or collect the food. Okay children, so what do? Mouth parts and other parts like they use their nails, hands, that is legs. Some of them use their beaks, but if you see about the birds, they use their beaks to track their food and collect their food. Some by observing and by keen observation, some hunt the food material. Is it clear? So we can say that different animals uses different methods in collecting and grabbing the food. Okay, so what is it? Now you are going to see in this topic now, children. Note. See here, how do the animals track the food? I said they track the food, isn't it? They track the food by using the different senses. What are the sense organs? What are the different sense organs you have? You have eyes to see, nose to smell, tongue to taste, ears to hear, skin to touch or feel, isn't it? So these are all the sense organs that are also present in the animals too. Do you believe or not? Yes, they also have the sense organs. So some sense organs are highly developed and more than one sense organ is also developed in a single animal too. So these sense organs help them to track the food and they collect the food by using the mouth parts or beaks or hands or legs, etc. So they collect the food by using the organs, that is body parts. They collect the food by using the body parts or organs like mouth, legs, hands, teeth, etc. Mouth parts, teeth, that is teeth, like teeth, tongue, legs, etc. Okay, so they collect the fruit. As I told you, first they have to track the food, then collect the food, then they hunt the food, or sometimes they grab the food from others, and also they hunt the food. For hunting, they need the nails, that is, they uses their legs to hunt the food materials. So in such manner, they uses their senses. In some animals, the sense organs like smell is highly developed. In some other animals, the sense organs like eyes are highly developed. In some others, hearing capacity is very much developed. If you see the bats have the high hearing capacity. Okay children, so hearing capacity of bats is very high, and if you see the vultures or eagles, for them vision is highly developed. So what are the sense organs that is highly developed in different animals? Highly developed in different animals. Now I am going to tell you. Like if you see the sight, sense of vision, sense of sight or vision, that you can say about the vultures, eagles. In these birds, sense of vision is highly developed. Okay, next, if it is about the hearing capacity, you can say about the bats of high hearing capacity. Next, sense of smell. Dogs and cats, you know very well that dogs sense with the help of their smell, isn't it? They sniff, when there is any food material, they first sniff the food material and come forward to eat it. So mostly the police also use the dogs for smell purpose, as they use the dogs to catch the thieves and all through the high sense of its highly developed sense organ, that is smell. Okay, next coming to the sense of taste. the reptiles, they depend on the taste. Okay, so these are the sense organs of different animals which are highly developed. Hope you have understood now, children, about the sense organ, and through a simple activity we'll prove this about how do these animals depend upon the different sense organs. Note down this first. Mostly children, bats, they have high sense of hearing. They track the insects with the echolocation, and they track with their wings, or the lining membranes of the tail membranes also will be helpful for them to track the insects or any other objects that they need. Okay, so to eat. They also eat fruits also. They also eat fruits and nectars and pollen also they depend upon. So like this, if you see the board here, children, write the parts of the body animals are used to collect or capture the food now. So what are the different parts of the body which the animals used in order to capture the food? We have already known that animals first they track the food, they collect the food and grab or hunt the food. In order to grab or hunt the food, they use the different body parts, and the different body parts are used by different animals to track and collect the food or hunt the food. For this, now you see the table 2. First one is dog. So what is the sense used in taking food or in tracking the food by the dog? You have to write over here now. So what is the sense organ highly developed by the dog? That is sense of smell. So body parts used in taking the food. Mostly you will be seeing the dogs taking the food with the help of its tongue, mouth part, isn't it? Tongue is a body part that is being used by the dogs for taking the food, and they tear the flesh with their canine teeth. So teeth and tongue. You can write over there. Sharp teeth and tongue. Sharp teeth and tongue. So you can see the page number of 24 over in your textbook and complete the table over there. Second one. See there, children, second one, cow. What is the sense organ used by the cow in tracking down the food? The cows mostly use the sense of vision, seeing. They search the food, isn't it? So, vision. They use the sense of vision or seeing in tracking down the food. So what are the body parts used by the cows in taking the food? You mostly see the cows taking the food with